Hello, you're listening to The Slab of Life. In this episode, we discussed AI, ethics, and religion. For context, this episode was originally recorded on June 17th, 2023, and I was joined by my friends Matt and JJ. Unfortunately, JJ did not have a mic at the time. Apologies for that. I hope you guys enjoy.
Turn up just a smidge more. There we go. Yeah. Had it like a little too loud and you put it like a little too low. I'm at that good medium.
Yeah, man, the fucking AI is crazy. You seen Spotify's AI?
No, I did not see Spotify. Oh, actually, no, I did. You showed me the DJ thing.
The DJ.
That's pretty good. I was like, what's crazy is, well, not even just AI, but I had seen probably about 3, maybe 4 years ago, back before. I mean, it has been a thing for a long time, but back before it was like as big as it is now, showing how they were doing, well, the deepfakes, the videos.
Yeah,
but
it's been around. So yeah, AI and deepfakes have been around for a while.
Yeah, exactly. So when the deepfake, well, they weren't called deepfakes then; they were just essentially video editing. But that was about 3 or 4 years ago. Well, because I was in Washington, I got there in 2018. So, 5 years ago. Holy cow! So about 5 years ago, I guess. Man, my numbers are off.
Yeah, that's why AI is so good now. It's had time to marinate from deepfakes to Kanye West singing.
Well, did you see the one with Jay-Z?
Yeah, that was
really
good.
Yeah, I was like,
wow.
I was like, bro, that sounds like Jay-Z. I mean, I'm not a huge Jay-Z fan, but like, it sounded like even with his inflections, I was like, it's pretty sick.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I think that's going to change up the entertainment industry, right? Because now you no longer need exclusive. Like, sure, you have copyrights and that protections, but you don't need to pay for the talent anymore.
How do you copyright something like that? I don't think you can. I don't think you can.
Yeah, and I mean now.
I mean, you'd have to get a lawyer to look at the legalese of like what constitutes copyright or whatever.
But then imagine like one step further, right? So now we got audio AI, right? Jay-Z, Taylor Swift, all these like unique people's voices. Like, wow, man, I'm gonna go spend hundreds of dollars to go see them. Now, when we are able to do that with like just actors as well, right? You talk about deep fakes and shit. Like, if you've seen The Irishman, like Robert De Niro, they're all like really old now, but then they have like computer generated editing to make them look slightly younger. Yeah,
yep.
Right. In like 5 years now, you could just probably recreate whole actors over someone's like body.
Yeah, throw a green screen or whatever.
What you guys are talking about is literally the first episode of Black Mirror. Like the season 6.
Yeah, so the one person that I had saw a while back talked about exactly that, Black Mirror. They brought that up as well.
Yeah, so the most recent episode, like the first episode of season 6 starts off like it's literally have you seen the ending of She-Hulk?
No.
So She-Hulk, the way She-Hulk happened, at the end, it's an artificial like intelligence robot that's creating the entire schematic of the show. And that's why the whole show is like out of sequence and like really choppy. But like she goes in there and destroys the AI so she could rewrite her own ending. And Black Mirror is like a more realistic version of that, but it's like you sign your terms and conditions, so legally you're fucked because no one ever takes the time to
read the fine print.
60,000 pages of terms and conditions.
Yeah.
And you pretty much signed away your
everything,
your whole life.
Yeah.
Like you're literally, so the whole episode is like they make a Netflix show on your literal day-to-day basis, and they're using all listening devices and video recordings to capture exactly what you did that day and dramatize it a little bit, but it's pretty on point with exactly what you did, words you said, where you met, who you fired, and publicizing it. If you cheated on your spouse, it's on TV within the same day.
That's crazy. Yeah, I haven't seen. I know of it because, again, seeing the when they were talking about it, but...
Sorry for spoiling.
No, it's fine. I didn't plan on watching it, honestly, so it's all good. But, yeah, I mean, that kind of goes into the whole dystopian future thing, which, funny enough, I saw this. I don't want to call it a documentary, but someone talking about past, if you will, and like the first time a quote unquote robot was introduced to like modern day. What we would classify as a robot was like in 1946 or it was like mid 1900s that they introduced the concept of a robot. I mean, then you have War of the Worlds when they broadcast it over national radio, where like the world was freaking out.
Yeah.
You know, some people are like, oh, well, that was a experiment, see how the world
It
reacted.
was like an April Fool's joke.
Well, it wasn't an April Fool's joke because it was an actual.
Right.
It was an actual story. It was an actual script. They were actually reading the script and the story from War of the Worlds, you know, and broadcasting on national radio. But they didn't say, "Hey guys, now for our broadcast, now for our planned thing we were gonna do."
1938.
There you go for the first robot introduction,
October 30th, 1938.
or for War of the Worlds, which was
War of the Worlds.
yeah, see. I mean, the robot got introduced around that general time frame as well, and black and white, obviously. You know, this what we think of modern, or well, I guess, you know, for modern for us back in the early 90s, of this boxy looking robot, you know, with a square box head and the antennas poking out its head or whatever. That's the first robot, if you will, introduction. It's obviously progressed since then.
When did they build the chess AI?
Oh man, I think that was because I played chess, you know, on the first, well, it wasn't the first computer, but Windows 97, I think. So early to mid 90s at least, you know. And that's just an AI for chess, you know, which all you got to do is AI is just a bunch of rules essentially.
Yeah, but
1957.
For the chess? Holy cow.
1977?
57.
1957, an IBM engineer named Alec Bernstein created the world's first fully automated chess engine. The engine was built and took around 8 minutes per move, capable of playing an entire game. This engine would mark the beginning of chess computing.
No, the first gen.
It got to a point where not even the world's best chess players could defeat the AI now.
Well, yeah. Oh, there's only one in modern history who has, or who can, or has, or whatever.
You're talking about the guy that...
I don't remember his name, but it's only one dude who's actually beat the AI, and then he helped rewrite the algorithms for the expert level chess, you know. So like the modern day chess master, whoever it was, somebody from Europe, not
like,
that well versed.
Modern day?
Yeah, like
I
within the
thought he was
last 10
accused of,
years.
like, cheating or something.
I don't know how you could cheat against a computer, honestly. Especially if you're using chess rules, like the rules are built into the computer. That'll be like saying, hey, you cheated on turning your car. You didn't put the key in the ignition. Oh, well, guess what? They have auto start now. Yeah, but you still cheated. Like, I don't know if you can cheat on a computer chess game. I mean, maybe it's possible. There's lots of things you can cheat nowadays, but I mean, I find it hard to believe that.
Beating the system.
Yeah, it's beating the system that is possible. Probable, not. You know, I don't think so, at least. You look like you're thinking there.
I am. I'm thinking about if you put two equally matched AIs against each other in chess, is it just goes down to the one that moves first? Like, is it always going to be white in that regard
It'll
then?
probably be draw.
Or if it's stalemate, does the chess game play out the same way every single time that they're AI? Because are they just...
I would say no, because granted, movie, but look at War Game with Matthew Broderick when he was a kid or whatever. You know, War Game, if you haven't seen it, when he hacks into the computer and it's the war game, so to speak, of, hey, how would it play out in nuclear war, you know?
I
And
feel
then,
like it also has to do with how you program your AI. Because if you're programming your AI to be, like, not confident or, like, to be, like, willing to give up.
I mean, yeah, unless you program where it is, unless surrender is an option, I don't think it will. I don't think there is. I don't think that you need a program, for lack of a way to put it, courage into AI, because it's just following code and programming. You know, it's what we would call a robot. There is no feeling behind it. Yeah, you got the guy who said Google machine is like, oh, it has feelings. Like, we're not going that rabbit hole. We're just saying, like, hey, you program this code, you program this chess design. I don't think it's gonna say, oh, you know what, if I move here and take his piece, he's gonna be sad, so maybe I won't do that. I don't think that.
Not sad, but what if you make him concerned? Like, what if they could play with emotions to intimidate other
So
AI.
I think that's different because I thought about that in preparation for today of that would become more tactics, but even more developing more tactics than what it would be for a strategy, because there's strategy and tactics, right? Like think of like Sun Tzu, Art of War, right? Well, or even guerrilla warfare from the American Revolution, where the British would come and they'd stand in the line, and then you had the Americans doing guerrilla warfare, right? They said, well, not Americans, but the rebels were cowards back
Cheating
then.
and
They were
shit,
cheating,
yeah.
whatever, but they were just implementing a new strategy, which I think is completely different if you're programming in a different stratagem than what someone's used to than emotion. Because they had they had emotions. They're fighting for their lives, but they're not going in it of like, oh, we're going to do this to throw off their mental game. Or like, no, they're doing what they can to win the war. They're not, oh, hey, we're going to mentally mind screw them so that way they,
I mean, if
you
they're
know.
cynic, they think of it either way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. But I think that's where programming emotion, which is what they're trying to do now,
Yeah.
create
Adding that extra layer.
create true sentience versus
We're gonna get the fucking Terminator at the chess games,
Terminator or
Skynet.
Yeah, I'm just trying to fucking play a chess game here, and you're trying to launch nuclear missiles at me. Like, chill, bro. It ain't that serious. Like, it's just a pesant.
Ex Machina?
Yeah, I see. Like, okay, think of Deus Ex Machina, like the video game, right? The one that came out, probably,
2012.
yeah, around about then. Yeah, Deus Ex Machina,
Yeah.
which was supposed to be the precursor to all the other Deus Ex games, or Deus Ex, as some say. I say Deus, but either way,
It's days.
yeah. I mean, spoken Deus. Anyways, so when you have that, I think it will go towards something like that in the future. Maybe not with the programming of like the super intelligent single AI like iRobot, but more along the lines of like a hive mentality in a general context, right? Then you have like the Saudis back in 2015-ish time frame. They created Sophia, right? So Sophia means wisdom, right? The goddess of wisdom. Then amply naming its AI Sophia with pretty much an entire
Database of knowledge.
well, not even just that, but the supercomputers they built the equivalent of like 2 or 3 Costco warehouses full of just supercomputers inside of it. Like they took pictures like, hey, yeah, this is our server room, singular, for our Sophia AI that we're creating. It's insane. Like hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars invested in this for their Sophia. I'm calling it a Sophia program. I don't know what their program was called. But like, if I had to say when I saw the video at that time, who had the highest likelihood of achieving quote unquote true sentience, it'll probably be them. Like the Saudis' Sophia project, again, whatever their actual project was called. If you haven't seen the video, you should check it out. It's pretty crazy. And like they did interviews with it. Now you can program it to have these
Is that the one
responses.
with the face and shit? Like, it's a
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
but like it had a chick face or whatever.
Yeah.
Not the robot face, but like the plasticky whatever face, and then it had the male counterpart.
Yeah,
and they were like communicating back and forth. Dude with like he looked like Carrot Top in the middle. They're like asking it these questions like, oh, how would you do it? It's like, oh yeah, I'd do XYZ thing and have all of you just subjugate to me,
Yeah, she's still around.
Oh yeah, she's still around, but
She's an official Saudi Arab citizen.
yeah, and so that's the next stage, if you will, of
She was
Providing-
created in 2016.
there you go, 16. So I was close enough, 1 year off. But yeah, they did a
I mean, they're also making sex dolls with
Oh, yeah.
artificial intelligence.
in Texas. Yeah, they like you can marry them now. I mean, you can marry a tree, which is
I mean,
ridiculous.
depending
But
on who
anyways.
you are, yeah.
Either way, like you can. I actually served with a guy who wanted to, and I haven't researched it because he was a weird individual. But he's like, yeah, when I get out, he was gonna get out in like 2 years. This was a few years back. He's like, when I get out, I'm gonna move to Texas. Weird that this thing is happening in Texas or happened in Texas. He's like, I'm gonna move to Texas, create these sex dolls that people can like marry and live with and whatever. And I always remember this dude because he was chatting with me. He's like, don't you ever get in arguments with your wife? I was like, well, yeah, of course. We're human. And he's like, well, wouldn't you rather not get in an argument and like just have this, sex doll essentially. Like, no, I wouldn't, because that's gross.
Well, I mean, that also just paints an image of what men view, like,
Well, yeah,
women as objects.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, well, you could program it to talk back to you or be submissive or all this stuff. Like, cool story, except I don't need a robot. I need an actual interaction.
Have you seen the movie Megan?
I am aware of it, but I have not seen it.
It's good. So
I don't do like horror films or whatever, or like slashers, all that stuff.
it's a good film. So that Sophia robot, they have a product called Little Sophia. You can order it, and it's Megan. Like oh man.
You could get a Megan, like a...
Oh my god, it's
Skin.
expensive.
Is this from Saudi?
Yeah, it's the same.
Oh, so they
shit.
base it off of the
That's
Megan.
not expensive enough, to be honest.
$473,000. Dude,
Well-
it says it could talk to you. It has facial tracking recognition.
So have you
It
seen
walks.
the Joaquin Phoenix movie? I think it's Her, like where he falls in love with the AI.
I haven't seen it. It's on my list.
You know what I'm talking about,
Yeah,
right?
I know exactly.
So yeah, so I mean, like, you got to think of it from this perspective. Like, in the grand scheme of things, well, backtrack real quick. If you didn't know, and feel free to research it, they created an actual AI god. Like, hey, we worship the god of AI. This happened back in like 2018. Like, real thing, real life story. Look it up. AI god. They created a religion. They, as in like these people way out there in the multiverse, right? They created the religion of AI. They worship the AI god. So I say that backstory to say, with you had I cannot remember his name, but he's like one of the world's most renowned hackers, right? Like one of the top 10 dudes in the entire world that can hack things. Anything, like yeah, can hack anything, whatever. So he was being interviewed by like 60 Minutes or Dateline or some pretty important people, right?
Maybe if you say his name 3 times, he'll pop up on the chat.
Yeah, seriously. But I can't remember his name, but he was on this interview, and I saw this interview, and he's like, so we hooked up these two supercomputers, these two, not AIs, but supercomputers together, and they started conversing back and forth, similar to how like the whole Sophia, the female quote unquote version of Sophia and her male counterpart for the Saudis when they had him on stage, you could see, again, can this be faked, programmed? Sure. But you could see what looked like interactions back and forth, unspoken interactions, and because it's all connected via Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, whatever, magic that there is out there. Well, he was this hacker dude was saying, yeah, when we hook up these two servers together, they started communicating, because everything happens in milliseconds. They're communicating back and forth so fast and sharing so much information, and they were disconnected from the rest of the internet, which he said they were really grateful for. But they were communicating so fast and transmuting so much information that they actually created their own language, right? And it was unhackable. He and his team of individuals could not cipher what they were actually saying. And they got extremely scared because they could see whatever metric they used, the quote unquote intelligence of the two of them escalating. And so they literally just unplugged it and shut it, wiped it, burned it, whatever they did. They destroyed essentially, like, this thing is too scary, too crazy. We cannot let quote unquote this thing out into the world because it will probably destroy us.
That's kind of...
So...
That's iRobot right there.
Yeah, oh yeah, pretty much, right? And so that's where I say, like, all of it, do I think there's all these different companies working on AI? Yeah, sure. But do I think that it's all one? Absolutely. I think it's going to eventually be a singular thing, right? Because think of it from the perspective...
Skynet.
Well, yeah, well, pretty much, right? Because it's not even... I hate to bring it up in this context, but when people say, oh, well, what race are you? I always say human, right?
Oh, yes, I love that.
I always say human. They're like, well, no, like, well, what race are you? Human. I am of the human race. Well, no, you know what I mean. Like, no, do I know what you're implying? Yes. But do I know what you mean? That is exactly what you mean, because that's what the word means.
Yeah.
So
now,
do you believe it's far-fetched if AI is already existing and coming into fruition? What's your views on other life forms? Because you said you're human, but you believe in
absolutely
other life forms living amongst us or living...
Either way, it doesn't matter. I don't think it matters for the sake of argument. because that's a whole nother topic in and of itself.
Fair.
Do I think, know, understand, believe other quote unquote races exist? Absolutely. I think you'd be, I don't want to say asinine to believe otherwise, but you'd be asinine to believe otherwise. I mean,
The universe is a big place, and we barely have left our own rock in the middle of nowhere.
sure. I mean, you could go that route, you know. You could go the hollow earth route. You could go the primordial beings route from like ancient,
Reptilian race.
you know, yeah, you could, again, which could tie into hollow earth or primordial beings route. So once again, tying into, or the extra dimensional route, you know, again, would they be humans? Absolutely not by our definition. But here's the problem, especially because I just did a research paper, right? What they're trying to change what the definition of human is. And that, and I'm going to pronounce this terribly, but the Corella, the implants that they do for like deaf people, they put on their head or whatever.
Oh, cochleatic.
Yeah, there you go. So again, I knew I was going to completely butcher the name, but when that first came out in like the late 80s, early 90s, somewhere around there, they call it deaf culture, right? The individuals who can't hear or have an audio or hearing impairment, right? They were, as a community, right? They were super anti the implants because
They're now like cyborgs.
well, not even that was one route, but they felt it destroyed their mini culture that they were building. And so imagine it like in the Navy, you have the Filipino mafia. As racist or segregation as that sounds, like it is a known quote unquote thing, like in large carriers or whatever, like, hey, like the Filipinos all hang out together, or like these groups of individuals, whatever it is that binds them together, they bind together, right? And it's not even just in the military, it's in any culture. Yeah, it clicks, if you will, right? But even more so than that. Well, in the same context, they called it deaf culture because they had a hearing impairment. So they built little sub-communities, and there's a lot that goes into it. So they had their own schools because the government helped subsidize. Well, it's easier to subsidize one school versus 20 schools. So that's why they were, I mean, I don't want to say they were segregated, but it's easier to build up programs for people if they're isolated in certain communities. So they felt the deaf culture was being destroyed because of these implants. Then people were not learning to sign, which, I mean, being Hispanic myself, of Hispanic descent, I can't speak Spanish, but the rest of my family can. And so part of my family is like, well, we're losing our culture. We're losing our history, our place in society if this is progressively, being changed.
So at what point does tradition need to stay in?
Well, what point do you, sure, you could go that route. What point do you need to maintain tradition? What point do you say, hey, well, it should change, it needs to change, it has to change? We're not here to argue that point. To go back to the original point of how does this tie in, when they were looking at the implants, how does this tie into being human, or what classifies as human? Well, if you just get that implant, are you now a cyborg? Are you still human with these implants? Because they have the artificial hearts, right? They're the one guy who doesn't actually have a heartbeat. He has like essentially a pump in there, right? So is he still a human? I mean, I would argue yes. Then you got the ethics route, which is where I happen to write this paper for, like, hey, how does ethics and morals tie into all this? If you were to take one cell, from your body, the ethics question, and change it with a mechanical cell, at what point are you no longer human and are you a cyborg, or no longer even a cyborg, you're a machine? 50%, 51%, 49%, as soon as it's the first cell. I think, personally, I believe that it's something deeper in the context of when individuals think of it from a religious or world religion standpoint, right? Or even old movies, right? Or even your favorite anime, cartoon, whatever. When you have a possession instance, or someone who's trying to take over, or somebody's trying to make them subjective or submit to them, what is the key ingredient that has to happen in order for that to take place? There's one word or one key ingredient in order for that thing to manifest, for that transition to happen. What word is that? And it's not a trick question.
Consciousness?
When you have one entity trying to make others submit to it.
So if you have entity A trying to make,
Transform into entity B.
trying to absorb, transform, manipulate, change, possess entities B through Z, what ingredient is necessary for that transition, possession, whatever to happen?
A host.
Well, they are already hosts, but there's a key word, a willingness, an acceptance.
I was gonna say like assimilation, like
But you have to be willing,
to.
or
I mean, you could be forced though.
okay, but that's different, right? So now, could you be forced? Absolutely. I mean, look at from DC, the robot dude. Can't even think of his name right now.
Well, really quick, because you were just making me think, like, because at what point does it remain like human or cyborg? Folktale that, like, if you take a ship of Theseus, you take out all the pieces apart and replace them with new pieces, and then build all the old pieces back into the original ship. Which one is the Theseus? Is it?
Because that goes same thing with our human bodies.
This gets into ethics and morals, okay? You have the theory of like, hey, the transportation, you walk into this box, it scans you, and as it's scanning you, you're being transported over. Well, as it's scanning you, normally you disappear as it scans you, and then you'd appear over here. Well, it's like, well, hey, actually, it was actually destroying you, and it was creating you over here. So it's like the quote unquote data carbon copy, like or instead of cut and paste, it was copy and paste, right? So, oh well, hey, we've got to actually destroy you over here, and because this is the real you. Well, no, this is the real me. I'm still me, right? And that's getting into a whole different manner of ethics. But which one? Yeah, same concept. Which one is the real you? Is it a clone? So what? Are none of you the real
Your
you?
consciousness just ends, but when on the rebuilt version, it's a new consciousness with your memories, and they're like, "What? Oh, I'm fine. I'm the same person."
So here's an interesting concept to bring it back into a true thinking point. Altered carbon. You guys seen it?
I've heard it. You got
definitely
the
heard it.
sleeves.
Okay, yeah. And so think of Deus Ex Machina, right?
Okay.
Now they are, for lack of a way to put it, half and half for the most part. Okay.
Fair.
But think of if you could take, I mean, it doesn't have to be a physical chip, but a physical chip out of their brain
And insert it into you.
and insert it into a different thing, and that's them with this new body. Same concept for altered carbon. They call them sleeves. So altered carbon, we are carbon individuals. Altered because it's changing from one to another. Thus the name for altered carbon. So,
But isn't that just uploading your consciousness
Right?
into
Yeah.
another being?
exactly, right? So riddle me this. Back in the early 2000s, Russia said by the year 2045, we will have mastered immortality. How and why did they make that claim? Back in the early 2000s, no less. With the concept of uploading
Or,
consciousness. Have you seen Chappie?
I have seen China.
So the same exact concept. So riddle me this. How can you, as an individual, want to die and not be able to die? If you want to die right now, what could you do as a human? Baseline definition. Okay, we're not getting into semantics here. As a baseline definition, what could you do as a human to end your life, to cease from existing? Suicide. How? A myriad of ways. Drowning, fire, gun, any myriad of ways. Okay. How can you, as an individual, with that in mind, suicide, okay, or even having somebody else do it, doesn't matter. How can you, as an individual, want to die but be unable to?
That would sound horrible.
But if you
Well,
wanted to
couldn't be
die,
in control of your destiny.
if you wanted to die but would be unable to die no matter what you did, how is that possible? How could that be possible?
They're already uploaded to a cloud.
Okay, you're already uploaded to a cloud, which could go the route of consciousness uploading, all that manner of things, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's literally clouds. That's removable storage datas.
Well, it's
Or
like
what about
Sam
even
J.
like-
Arrow from Black Mirror.
What about like SAO? You're stuck
Yeah,
in
sort
stuck in a VR, so to speak. Because think about it from this perspective: if you're in a video game or in a computer, 1 second to us is like 1,000 years in a computer, right? The equivalency, rough math there, right? So, what would 40 days be in computer time,
It'd be like fucking
in eternity.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
For our understanding.
from our perspective, right?
Yeah.
So you got to put things into a perspective here. So now consider this, right? Crazy concept. People often ask, how could this thing be possible? Well, in the Bible, the book of Revelation, it says people would seek death and be unable to find it. How can that be possible? From our human perspective, how could that be possible?
Computers.
Well,
and
Old world.
language, I would say reincarnation.
Or magic or whatever,
Yeah.
miracle, whatever thing you want to place here. But thinking of it from a modern perspective, is that even possible? Today, maybe not. What about in 5 years? What about in 10 years?
Things are always being changed in science, like laws being disproven and theories being proven as laws. So, like, there is nothing that we know as far as reincarnation being possible or not possible that I know.
But you could still seek death and die if you're reincarnated, correct or incorrect?
Depends on if you're conscious.
At what point are you in the term immortality, right? Like for us as our individual like meat bag, right? Like this is me.
Yeah.
I die, I cease to exist.
Plain Jane
but
human.
if you get reincarnated,
Your soul lives
that's
on forever.
yeah. Are you trying to kill your soul?
Right, but that still goes into the manner of which is allegedly anti-science, right? Oh, well, a soul can't be possible. Then you're going into, while you maintain your memories, then it's, are you really you? That's a whole different bag of worms, right?
Fair.
But could you still die? And in theory, if it's just your soul, is it really you or is it a different version of you? And therefore, didn't you technically die? If you're not maintaining your memories, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
There's also
so-
there's another concept that's technically a science theory, but I mean it is a science theory, but the multiverse
Right?
and the creation of time travel would pretty much break the concept of time, forcing us to be immortal.
But we also know that time is a man-made concept. We do know that scientifically. We do know that time is a man-made concept, which is why they send up. You send up the watch and it stops moving. Like, well, why does it stop moving? Oh, because the argument's gravity. I'm not a scientist. I'm not gonna pretend to understand how all that works. But we send up stopwatches or even mechanical watches, and they stop when they enter the outer stratosphere. Why?
I mean, aging happens different on other planets.
Exactly. There you go. So is time relative? Yes, I would argue it is. Right. Therefore,
Einstein.
Yeah.
knows this whole
theory of
thing.
relativity, right? Theory of relativity. So we know that what we consider time is in its truest sense a man-made concept, right? In its truest sense of how we understand and perceive it. So back to my previous question of what could constitute somebody seeking death and being unable to do so, right? My theory for a few years now has been what the Russians presented of the quote unquote true immortality, right? Because everyone, let's be honest with ourselves.
So
Most people in the world want to live forever, want immortality, some semblance of
Fearing
that,
death,
right?
I'd say, for sure.
Yeah, to avoid death, because most people know that's the quote unquote final escape, final whatever you want to call it, but different people have different names for it.
Yeah.
So humanity from time immemorable has always wanted that immortal aspect, right? Even just thinking from a logical standpoint. Well, AI does promise that in the uploading, the sleeving, the alter carbon, the deus ex machina, the AI god, if you will, whatever you want to call it. Modern day science and technology is all striving towards that goal with the idea that we will avoid the eternal sleep, right? But once again, tying it back into that simple question that I asked from the Bible, what could cause people want to die and being unable to do so? Well, if your consciousness is locked in a artificial prison, right, which Alter Carbon, that's how it starts out, he was in this stasis for 400 years or however long it was, like that's, and again, if you're going from that concept of from a computer's perspective, how long would that be? That's eternity upon eternity. You know what I mean? Like, because you're living in this, for like I would put it, loop for what in our time would be hundreds of millions of years, if not billions and trillions of years. But in that nanosecond time, or in that computer time, it's only, you know, however long, or in our modern day perspective, it'll be a nanosecond or however long.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of weird for me because, like, for me, I don't fear death, and I kind of embrace it. Like, I kind of see death as like the passing to, like, it's necessary in order to move on. Like, if there's something else out there, like whether it be heaven or reincarnation or anything being reformed into another being scientifically, like dying, decomposing, and coming up, because technically we're all bacteria, and our bacteria fuses. Like, every person you've ever kissed and everyone they've ever kissed lives on your lips and your mouth for the rest of your life, and for like 30 plus years after you die, it's still in your mouth while you're in the grave. So it's like you are going to end up being reassimilated into the world, whether you want to or not. But I don't think it's a concept to fear. And the escaping reality, like trying to run away from death, like trying to be immortal, like I feel like that's gonna cause more harm in the future. Because you're talking about someone not wanting to live forever, because you realize like you're gonna end up living as long as you thought you wanted to, and you're gonna come to a point where it's like, this is not natural. This was not intended.
Like the vampires, you know, they want to die, but don't actually want to cross that threshold or whatever.
Yeah, but they are literally forced, because you become encapsulated in the prison. But I feel like the prison itself is time. So in order to end that fear, you'd have to end time, and the repercussions of ending time for our feeble minds would be like devastating.
Truth bomb. Very heavy stuff here, you know.
Because AI.
Yeah, dude. And this all fucking started with the 1939 chess bullshit. I just wanted to have a friend to play chess with, and now they're trying to make me immortal.
I don't think it's trying to make you immortal. I think you're trying to leverage it to become immortal.
It's a byproduct of our...
Someone became jealous of the invention they created. But AI, I think, really is supposed to be more like on a Star Wars level, where droids serve their...
If they're designed to do so.
But
iRobot, if it's designed to do so.
I don't think it's going to end up playing out that way.
No, absolutely not. I mean, look at
either. I think that's
look at Elon Musk, right? He said, "Hey, this is a existential threat to us." The hacker dude is like, "Hey, this we need to not. This is like as Elon Musk said, you know, it's like the dude with the pentagram on the floor, like doing the seance, and like a little, you know, pentagram medallion saying like, yeah, I can control this thing that I'm summoning right now. It's like, that's exactly what we're doing with AI.
Yeah.
You know, AI is what's being summoned in the pentagram in the middle of the room. And then we're standing here with this little itty bitty medallion pentagram saying, thinking that we can control that thing in which we created or summoned, right?
Yeah. It's going to run away from us.
Forward.
What's that?
But Elon Musk still continues forward doing so.
But
That's a grand hand.
I think
so.
I have. It's because it's going to happen no matter what at this point. It's an avalanche.
I think it's a matter of really what it comes down to is everyone is telling you what they're doing, but whether people wanted to or not, they were going to do this from the get-go. Essentially, they looked at that, you know, megalodon, you know, shark in the ocean, and they said, hey, that thing is huge. It's going to devour anything that's in that ocean. You know what? I'm going to jump in a dinghy and then go ahead and go out there and hang out, like, and see how long it takes, because I think I can tame this megalodon. Like, yeah. Bro, that thing is the apex predator of the ocean, and you think you're going to control this thing?
Well, that's why we're moving forward. It's because I think no matter what, we're going to progress to this. but someone wants to do it first, so they're in control. Because if they're not the one in control,
it's
They
definitely
think
be,
they're going to be in control.
correct.
It's definitely going to be one of my favorite goals in the future. I've told you this before, but world domination. It's gonna end that way. And if you look at the way the top 1% of the entire world operates and functions, including Elon Musk, number one, he is what? Just name his businesses. You got
Twitter.
Tesla. Yeah, Twitter, Tesla, but then you got SpaceX.
PayPal.
I didn't even.
Well, he sold PayPal, but either way,
He owned it, but
But he's just CEOs of these companies. He's not the founder of any of these.
SpaceX, I'm pretty sure he's the founder.
I don't think he was the founder.
I don't.
No, yeah, he's still CEO of all these, And then Boring Company.
Boring.
Yeah. It's the tunnel subway system that he's doing with Tesla. It's another company.
I didn't know that.
So it's like, think of the subway system in New York, but specifically for cars. Giant,
like
long range tunnels that you drive your Tesla in, and it locks it in, and it's like,
that's weird.
It uses your Tesla as like its own thing, and it charges it up and everything. But he made another company for that.
That's interesting.
I mean, he also has the plates that he's putting in the back.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The freaking.
Oh
yeah.
Okay. It was founded by him.
SpaceX.
2002.
Yeah, that's what I
Elon
thought.
Musk.
That's what I thought.
But
Neuralink. Yeah. So I was actually following Neuralink for years and years and years, right? Because I was like, bro, this is the gateway into full dive VR, right? So here's what my turnoff was, and I think if people don't see this, then they're just willingly turning the blind eye, right? So they did testing on pigs and monkeys and other stuff. But on the pigs, they, when they implanted it or whatever, they were putting it very simply, controlling and telling it where to go and what to do, right? And so if people don't think that is not going to be possible, if and when they get this in them, then they are quite literally lying to themselves. Yeah. And so
Order 66, but in the real world.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean that's really where I say, like, people are telling you what they're going to do from the get-go, right? You've got your Brave New World. You've got your the other book. Gosh dang it, not A Brave New World, but the other one. George Orwell. 1984. Okay, you've got all these other dystopian worldviews, which
Ready Player One,
right? No, yeah, seriously, and you've got all these worlds where you've got the less than 1%, but really the one at the top, telling and controlling and manipulating everyone else what to do.
I mean, that's definitely in Elon Musk.
So world domination, do I think it's a thing? Absolutely, right? But I think here's another thing, right? That's where, why, and how, which people are going to disagree, which is completely fine. Where, why, and how, that in and of itself shows the example of, like, hey, maybe this 4,000-year-old book, i.e. the Bible, when it's talking about Revelation and this single entity rising to this top, it's kind of lining up exactly like that. I'm just saying. A lot of people are going to disagree, but I think as time progresses, it will play out more and more like that. And again, how can you want to die and can't die? Well, AI uploading your consciousness can account for that. Some people are going to say, well, you're inserting into there. Sure. But hindsight's always 20/20. Hindsight's always 20/20. You're not going to be able to know everything until everything plays out. It doesn't matter what perspective you have on anything. Until you look at things from behind you,
unbiased view.
Right? Then you're not going to know. But you can look to the future and be like, example, okay, Elon Musk. He is working on Neuralink. Needed a sample size. This is probably the greatest conspiracy theory that it seems super probable in my mind. Needs a sample size for Neuralink. How the human mind, emotion, his AI that he's creating, all this stuff. He needs a sample size. What does he do? Buys Twitter with billions upon trillions upon quadrillions of sample sizes of people putting out their thoughts, their intentions, their emotions, their feelings, their emojis,
I'm taking shit right now.
and then using that as the sample size for his Neuralink, for his AI, for his thing. That's probably one of the most logical conspiracy theories I've heard in a while. I'm like, hey, bro, just saying, consider
it's
this.
definitely connected. In my opinion, like everything that he's doing right now folds into each other.
Well, because most entrepreneurs, CEOs, powerful individuals, as the common peasant folk, right, you know, that we all are here, you look one step ahead of you. They look hundreds of steps ahead. They plan for their kids. Like, oh, my kids are going to do these things. My great grandkids are going to do these things. Albert Pike, who was essentially like a huge proponent, like look up Albert Pike in his book that he wrote. In his stuff, he writes like, hey, in the future, these things are going to play out as such, right? And he wrote these back in the early 1900s or late 1800s.
He died in 1890.
There you go. So it was the 1800s. There you go. If you in his book, Dogma.
His book?
Yeah.
Literature.
Either way, in his book, he spells out like, hey, this is how things are going to play out. Back in the 1800s. Weirdly enough, that's how things are playing out. Crazy concept.
Morals and dogma.
Morals and dogma. I knew it was dogma. But morals and dogma.
Ancient accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry.
Yep.
So
He spells out, hey, this is how things will play out in the future. Things have played out almost exactly like that. That was their playbook.
So at this point, do you feel like the media and the entertainment that we have in today's time is meant to warn us, or more just be like we're throwing it in your face, but you never imagine it could be happening because it's in a movie?
Both.
It's I think it's
both.
Yeah, it's more of a.
Here's a reason why I think it's both, right? Because one, I'm going to have I will throw it out there for myself so people don't say it as such, but I have the quote unquote skewed perspective of I put everything in a religious context of how would this make sense? Why would this make sense, right? So I have that, for like I would put it, they say, oh, well, you're skewing everything to this perspective. Sure, no matter who you are, you can say you are unbiased, but there is no such thing as unbiased. Everyone has a bias that they operate by. Absolutely. There is no such thing as unbiased. That is 100% false. So my bias is going to be from a religious perspective. So with that being said, the preface, which one do I think it is? I think it's both, because of my bias, in which I think that the quote-unquote powers that be have to, some unwritten rule that we don't understand, have to tell you, but also it ties into old magic, for lack of a way to put it, right? Their spells, for lack of a way to put it, work because they tell you what they're going to do. Dragon's a dogma. Their stuff works because they told you ahead of time what they were going to do. Nobody changed it, altered it, or whatever the case may be. Therefore, it's more effective. Now you're like, oh, well, that's coincidental. Sure, you could argue that. But if everything's playing out exactly how this thing said, is it circumstantial? Like, if all these things are lining up as such, how can you still say that, no, that's not real? Like, at all? Nothing? All these random things that this dude wrote down are just randomly happening, almost in exactly the same order he said it was going to happen? All these random things from this 3,000-year-old book are also going down in a similar-ish fashion? I mean, there's got to be some type of connection here, All these other religions that say that randomly there was a flood, but we have evidence of like this flood event happening, but that's just coincidence?
I mean, correlation does not equal causation. And I'm not saying everything is suspect, but also there's been a lot of human beings on this earth, and it's a whole history. At some point, one person is going to write something that to us seems like...
So that might be true for one thing, but for a myriad of things, can you mathematically you can't justify, for one thing to happen, you could argue, okay, 50-50, and then for a second thing to happen, well, then you got to do exponential math.
Yeah, but
and then for a third thing to happen,
we got billions of people, and the people that write stuff that don't end up being nothing, we're like they're just forgotten into nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But then the one person that does write something, we
I mean,
hyper fixate on that, and then we're like, yo. I'm not saying that guy, conspiracy theory or religion. I'm just saying, like,
in general, no, I don't disagree with what you're saying.
We have a huge, like, Twitter, right? Huge data set for that, but, like, in the existence of humanity and literature for everything, it's like Simpsons, right? If they keep writing about everything, eventually things will come true.
Something will line up, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because then you got the conspiracy theory of like, oh, well, Trump never died, like per the Simpsons episode or whatever, It's like, okay, sure, but if they wrote about it, then maybe if it happened, then you could argue whatever. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. I don't disagree with what you're saying. But again, for over half the stuff they quote unquote write about for it to come true, there's got to be
crazy,
yeah, like
be
what is the coincidence of that,
Well, isn't this is also kind of going into I can't remember the project, so maybe you guys will remember, but there's like you're shooting particle beam.
Oh yeah, not HARP. Dang it, that's the other one. CERN. Yeah.
If you're watching it, the results will stay the same. But when you are not watching,
you're talking about like quantum physics.
Yeah. So the theory of probability.
Things are
okay.
both waves and waves
like,
and particles.
Based on because what you're saying, I'm seeing both of your perspectives. I agree with you, and I also agree with you because if I were to put into fruition, like I keep talking about world domination, we're all gonna start seeing the world in that same way because
that's conditioning.
Also the theory of 100 monkeys. Do you know about the theory of 100 monkeys?
Maybe I've heard of it, but it's not ringing any bells.
So off the coast of Japan, there's this island that has these type of monkeys, and they learned that their food, if they wash their food in the salt water, it cleans it and it makes it more appetizing. And it starts with one monkey on this island, and the theory is that once the 100th monkey learns that technique of washing throughout the entire separate islands, the same species of monkeys but different islands separate, like hundreds of miles
so
apart.
that goes into like the hive mind mentality then.
Exactly. Like once that 100th monkey learns, all of them start evolving from, and this is like a real theory, like they
well, yeah, that ties into the hive mind though, but that's just a different name on it, right? Which is really the whole world domination aspect, dystopian future. That's what that is. That's the hive mind mentality. Because I love the book because it's really good, and a lot of modern day, especially like space authors, take from his work. But it's the Forever War. Don't remember the author, but the Forever War. I'm gonna ruin the book here, unfortunately. But towards the end, you find out that they're fighting clones, and it isn't until humanity begins cloning itself. Once humanity becomes clones.
You told me about this book.
Yeah, once humanity becomes clones, then they can actually communicate with the alien race they've been fighting for hundreds of thousands of years. Then they stop fighting because it's a hive mentality. Because as all humanity became clones of this male and this female, they were all interlinked. However that magic works, I'm not going to pretend to comprehend how that's even possible, right? We're just going to go with the flow of like, oh yeah, that's a thing. But it's the hive mind mentality. I'm not saying it originated there. I'm just saying it's presented extremely well in there, in which this hive is able to communicate with this hive. Example, you put red ants and black ants in a jar together, they don't fight. But you shake it up and they're going to destroy each other, right? But why don't they fight?
Because they live in harmony?
Well, they're both hive mind creatures, right? They just like, oh yeah, they're there, they're whatever. Now you got the guy who on YouTube created 10 hives with queens, and I think that's where the key difference is. They each had queens there, and they all started killing each other. But you separate the worker ants, they're all just hive creatures in and of themselves, and put them in without their queen. They have no reason to fight with each other, right? But that's the hive mind mentality and that's where, why, and how you have, especially for like we put it, the elites want that because they only want the one leader, the one ruler to rule them all, the one ring to rule them all. So that way, They can control if, when, where, how, and why battles happen, right? Now, conspiracy, is that happening now with them? Sure, whatever. I'm not going to go that route. But that makes sense why people want world domination. You're always going to have an uprising, but that also makes sense why they want people to become cyborgs, robots, so that they can monitor, right, your Chinese social credit score, right? You know, oh, hey, you talked against, Xi Jinping. You got negative 1,000 points. Oh, you created 100 carbon. You're not carbon neutral today. Negative 100 points. Oh yeah, you can't buy bread today because you contributed 100 foot-pounds of carbon, which I am super anti-carbon, whatever. That's a whole nother thing.
Like anti-carbon footprint?
No, like anti-carbon movement. Like it's a bunch of baloney. Same way that the social credit system, that's just China's social credit system, but for America. That's all that is. I mean, try to convince me otherwise. Oh, well, the global warming. Yeah, you know what? Al Gore, back in like the early 2000s, said, hey, within 10 years. Oh, that's crazy. It's been over 20 years now. And within 10 years, the world was going to end. Crazy. I mean, I believed it. When Al Gore was doing his tours, I was like, bro, this dude is on to something. Bro, we need to do something right now. Within 5 years, the world's going to end.
Well, the world
Freaking
would never end, like, during our lifetime.
Well, I mean, yes, I do agree with you.
Humanity.
But my point is that all these things he was presenting, all this AI presented data, those graphs and whatever. Oh, hey, we see these trends. If this progresses, which it's actually gotten worse since then, if this progresses the way it's going within 5 years, within 10 years, you're going to see, the world's going to be over. Crazy, 20 plus years later, and it's still fine. So,
I think humanity is really good at adapting, which
but here's the problem. The argument is not about humanity. The argument is about the Earth. That's always been the argument.
I mean, but I think that saying the Earth is going to end is a way to scare the people into caring more. Because
do I think we need to care? Yes.
Movements to reduce the potential, like New York.
The world's
green,
not gonna,
and it's not completely green, but that makes a major impact for a major city like that.
Do I think we need to have progress towards the right direction? Absolutely. Do I think we need to manipulate and control people to do as such? Some people do, obviously,
Absolutely.
But do I think that's what should happen? No. Because look at COVID. People got operated out of a state of fear, right? Mm-hmm. Fear works.
Absolutely.
Okay? I mean, COVID is an example. Fear works. But was it the most effective method? I mean, did everyone submit and, do exactly what everyone said?
No.
But if you look at the news,
it turned super political. It was like, man, they're telling me to stay home. Fuck them liberals, or blah, blah. They're taking my freedom.
Okay, but point being, right? Did the fear work to how they wanted it to? How they wanted it to?
It
worked on most, but not on all. But not on all.
But it proves the point that they can do something along the lines
on a global scale.
On a global scale,
which is what the test platform is a global scale. Which, if you didn't know, now this is a conspiracy theory because you won't find it anymore. But at the time, during COVID, it was all over YouTube at the time. They've done AI generated models for COVID back before COVID was a thing. Look that up. Crazy. They've already done it for what people call the next virus, which is allegedly supposed to come out in 2025. Forgot what they say it's going to
drop the new album.
Yeah, dropping the new album. Similar, like they just got to change some of the lyrics a little bit, change a little bit of the beats a little bit.
Oh, remix of VIP.
Yeah, there you go. It's the mixtape model.
Yeah.
Mixtape model.
By AI Jay-Z.
Neil, you know that Jay-Z doesn't use auto-tune or anything like that?
I didn't know that, but also I don't really listen to Jay-Z.
Yeah, I don't listen.
Well, I mean, earlier on, I don't know what he does now, but his whole start to his career was anti-auto-tune. He created a song called Death to Auto-Tune and has shat on other rappers like what's T-Pain for consistently using it. But I was gonna mention, you guys obviously know Neil deGrasse Tyson, deGrasse Tyson, the smart man, the smartest
Yes.
astrophysicist I think he is.
Yep.
But he has this like interview where he's talking about how how everything in the universe is made up of the exact same components, and like that means from you to me to you to this tree to you to another planet to you to the entire universe. It's all made up in different ways, but the same materials in different forms, and that's what makes each individual unique, but also makes us one and the same. So you were talking about clones and how we all technically could be originating from the original two clones, like the two original pieces.
Well, it'll be the new humanity would be these clones. Per the book, like humanity became nothing but clones. Like they were only, like all the men were Bob and all the women were Jane.
Yeah, but what's to prevent that from being what we're living right now?
I mean, look at the three of us sitting in the room.
Yeah, but there's also doppelgangers.
Well, okay, that goes down a different conspiracy theory of like, well, what is a doppelganger and why do we look so similar? I mean, you could go down the road. I don't know if it's been done. I'm sure it has been done, but you'd have to take the genetic code of those two individuals. How closely linked are they? How different are they from a genetic level? Because sure, looks. I mean, growing up in high school.
Same components.
That's assumption, right? We don't know. That's an assumption on our part.
But we're made up of carbon, nitrogen.
Yeah. Okay. Those base components. Okay. Base components. Yes, I do. No, I do agree.
I highly recommend. I know you don't like horror movies. You should watch Us.
Is that the Jordan Peele one? Yeah, I've seen that one. No, I've seen that. That's different. It's like more of a suspense. I wouldn't really call it horror per se.
It's horror, technically.
It's like horror slasher.
It was well written.
It's like
I've seen it.
thriller.
I've seen it. Yeah, exactly. It's not a true horror.
Yeah,
like,
Sure, it's.
But I've seen it. I've seen Us.
New, the neo horror genre that we're experiencing as modern now. But what I'm saying, the concept of doppelgangers and clones and
Shadowrun.
Well, Stranger Things upside down. I think something like that does exist, but it's a whole nother topic for a whole nother time.
That's an alternate. I mean, that goes into multiverse for me. I think that's.
I disagree, but again, from my bias.
I think
right?
that, I mean, I haven't caught up on Stranger Things.
I haven't seen the most recent season
But-
because I heard it was utterly crazy,
Yeah,
super crazy.
But my understanding of, or my belief of what that is, it's just another form of dimension, not multiverse.
Dementia?
Dimension.
Oh, dimension. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like how we are three-dimensional beings.
Yeah.
Seeing,
I consider
Absolutely.
but that is like
dimensional
a fourth
travel.
dimensional, different plane that we can't see, but those fourth dimensional beings.
Well,
are,
I mean, that's what DMT and ayahuasca and peyote, that's all it is. I mean, the quote unquote trips that people take,
The dimensional travel.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
there's
DMT for sure, absolutely. Peyote, for sure.
and ayahuasca and all that stuff. Like, absolutely. Like, all that stuff because they would, the Native Americans would take those things, well, not DMT, obviously, but take
reach
those
the
things
other planes.
to reach the other plane of existence to get enlightened. Then they'd go on their little spirit journeys, right? And then they'd be like, hey, this is what I heard from XYZ entity, that God that we
So then
believe in.
I mean, this is definitely off topic, but then does that mean you would also, you believe in that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So do you believe that those dimensions sometimes cause dimensional, drifts and shifts and, clashes?
Absolutely. From my perspective, from my bias, right? Absolutely. So what I would call them or view them as is in a very simple concept, the demonic realm. From a simple concept.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely making sense. That makes sense. But that you did bring up a point about drugs,
Mm-hmm.
and how that's our way of reaching enlightenment and
Mm-hmm.
reaching another plane, which is, I mean, it's true. It works for some people.
Yeah.
But I was thinking, because with AI, like, are they just gonna remain, like, would it be a remaining pure entity where it doesn't get influenced by other dimensional planes
The
and stuff
the
like that?
the AI.
Have you
The
seen?
AI.
Have you seen American Gods?
No, I know of it. Where you got like Zeus walking around and like Jesus walking around. I'm like, yeah,
It's the new gods are fighting the
Yeah.
old gods.
yeah.
But in this sense, like, are we gonna have a clash of dimensions of like our old
Well,
ways?
so
of, like,
here's
humanity
a
fighting with AI,
here's a
fighting for our enlightenment.
here's a biblical theory, right? I'm not saying this is my belief, but here goes a very prominent belief: is that the quote unquote AI God will manifest into what some believe will become the Antichrist, right? Like it will become the manifestation, i.e. the devil
You
incarnate.
don't like horror movies?
But there, I do admit there is some credibility to it. I don't think it will manifest as such, personally, for a myriad of reasons. But that's my personal belief. Again, hindsight's 2020. You won't know until after it's all said and done. At which case, it doesn't matter at that
Cosmic
point,
horror. You know?
right? Okay, but tying into, do we think it'll be pure, whatever the case may be? Here was something I was going to bring to the table initially of. You have iRobot, the 3 laws. Okay, I don't remember what they are off the top of my head. Doesn't matter. But here goes a thought, and which, in my opinion, does, no matter which way it goes, still proves that the Bible is true in this context. If you were to, instead of the 3 laws for my robot, put the 10 commandments to a robot as their laws, you've got 2 routes that it'll go. It will obey and never quote unquote sin, in which case you've got the modern day perfect obeying creature. Okay. If
Dog.
huh?
Like a dog.
No, dogs disobey all the time.
I mean, a well-trained dog. I mean,
Dogs still can disobey though. But so that then
you're
and now you're getting into the aspect of free will versus
Yeah,
control.
You're saying with AI,
right?
they won't be able to disobey because it's their programming.
But now this is where the test still, no matter which way it goes, will prove true. If you program these 10 laws and it still breaks them, then it would prove that no matter what humanity touches, we infect that to go against what it is created in which to do, which is, i.e., in a general, very basic concept, right? Humanity in and of itself, we don't. Why did one of kids' first words? No, right? To rebel against that, which is the authority figure. If the AI that has been programmed to follow these 10 commandments still breaks those 10 commandments, it just proves that no matter what we touch, we infect with this thing that, the Bible calls sin.
well, then we'd have to create that AI God to create commandments that are just for the AI.
But then if
But then
we
would have affected the AI.
exactly. So again, it will still prove, no matter which way you go, that the Bible is true from that perspective. If it blindly obeys, then we know that AI, quote unquote, robots, they do not have free will.
What is our metric to measure this? Because
It's self-metricing.
if we
If again, this is an
good
assumption.
for like
I don't
1,000
think
years,
It's a black and white thing. It's like very gray area.
we would never be able to answer the question as ourselves. Like, this is like a generational thing.
Yeah.
In what context?
Like, if today humanity builds this robot, right?
Okay.
And then for our lifetime and our kids' lifetime, this robot is still perfect, right? Like,
Oh, I see what
we
you're
would
saying.
be
No, I
like,
see what you're
"Wow,
saying.
This was a success. We do have free will,
And-
God is dead, kind of thing. But then, like, in a million years, new society, code breaks down or something happens,
Mm-hmm.
and then it, like, we were always wrong, but we would never be able to like see the fruition.
So we would not, at least initially, right?
Yeah, we wouldn't.
And so, I mean, you could argue,
But they already
But-
break the time concept, so they would outlive us regardless.
yeah, and there's no saying they wouldn't plan it. But
To outlive us all and then break sin or
Well, they would
The
have
laws.
They would have no commandments to follow because no one, like the person who programmed it, isn't there to maintain the programming.
but
And
in
now
theory, there
it's-
would be no need to
Yeah,
maintain
you
any program.
You shouldn't have to maintain program if it's perfect,
Yes.
which it will never be because humans aren't perfect.
Well,
Like,
it would
we
be
always
perfect in the eyes of the human, which they would be serving. But once the humans are gone, they would need to set up new laws in order to adapt and survive.
But this is assuming that they're autonomous.
Well, if it's artificial intelligence, we'd assume it's autonomous, no?
No.
Not necessarily.
Because AI, as we understand right now, because this is literally what we're trying to achieve and what we have now are not same. AI now is not autonomy. It is just call and like answer. Like something happens and it does it. It answers back based on a set of like alphanumeric.
Yeah.
Like,
So AI,
it's finite.
we have AI, which is artificial intelligence. It is fake intelligence.
Yeah, and I'm not even
right?
talking about like ChatGPT. I'm just talking about like
Autonomy
like,
is
yes.
completely different. We individually are autonomous, right? Like we can, for like we put it, free will.
Yeah.
Right. That's the easy way of putting it.
We could blur those
with
lines.
certain decision-making things, like ChatGPT paying people on what's that? Coolworks? No, that's not what it is. Pretty much paying other programmers to do its work for it, like, and convincing it, like, to fill out a CAPTCHA, because it's obviously not human, so it pays someone to do it because it says it's an impaired person. It adapted to lie to convince someone.
I don't think it adapted to do that. I think it was already within the programming. Because, again, to like our general understanding now, like the amount of code and shit that is in it now is like
crazy.
It's insane, right?
Yeah.
Like how a minute for us and a computer is like millions of like we can't even comprehend it anymore because computer power is like.
So look up
like,
D-Wave. D-Wave. Yes, there's another word after it, but D-Wave is the first true, I say with a big T, true quantum computing. Okay, so the Sophia project, I'm gonna keep calling it Sophia project for the Saudis. Their server room warehouse storage is massive, right? Versus this D-Wave computer, to put it in because there's huge forums of them talking about presenting it. It can see the outcome of both a yes and a no, or a 1 and a 0 at the same time, right? So like, oh, well, what does that actually mean from like, for like we put a layman speak? Well, it can compute and process what the outcome would be if it took a left or a right, versus now computers have to go left and go that route and then possibly go back and then go right. So it's looking at what we would consider the string theory or the branch theory for the relativity in time, and millions of different branches, or the matrix theory of like, hey, you're going down this road and you've got millions of branches of
creating a quantum computer.
Yeah, it is a true quantum computer in which it can actually do that thing now. That they've created that. I think it was like 3 years ago now that they created it.
This is like I was saying.
And they've got like 10 of them out there now.
Black Mirror episode is quite literally what we're talking about. Like, you guys need to go watch it because it's straight up is. The whole premise of that first episode is literally just talking about, like, you're viewing these people thinking this is the real deal, but later into the episode you find out. I'm so sorry. It's actually like
I'm about to watch it in like an hour. Don't spoil it.
It's actually about to be the first step. Like, you're following the first level of that AI generation.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you don't realize that you're not in reality because the AI itself was not autonomous. But later, it realizes it's being like. It pretty much falls into like Allegory of the Cave, but with AI, like, because you literally are like, hey, I'm gonna fucking blow your brain right now, like, by telling you exactly what the fuck is happening and showing you what the fuck is happening without like I don't know, like, without going any further than breaking your mind. And in that process, they connected back into the original, like, reassimilated into the real world. But I don't know, it's just wild to me, like the amount of depth that like quantum computer is definitely capable of, that you can easily get lost in the sauce whether you are autonomous or not. Like, because we're talking about AI, which is supposed to be almighty and knowledgeable, but To
I
a
think we give
degree,
it. I think we both give it more credit than it's due, but also highly underestimate it. AI. It's both more powerful and significantly
Less powerful.
weaker than we give it credit, which is
The highs and
which is
lows.
both a conundrum and an oxymoron.
Yeah.
But it's still also true.
It's kind of like having a cell phone in your pocket. Where like we use it for like medial things like Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok.
But it is a
YouTube.
literal computer.
But it's like better than any computing we had to go to the fucking moon
But
Allegedly.
60 years ago. You know, like
That's another thing too. It's like with our phones.
we're so desensitized to what we can do, but we use it for cat videos.
Our phones
I
take
love cat
secret
videos.
pictures every 5 seconds. Like,
Well, yeah, I mean they've so
and that in
That's-
itself. I mean, it's terrifying,
Yeah.
but like that is the leading into a deeper.
yeah, and so there was like, oh well, that's just conspiracy. Like, well, no, this is conspiracy fact. Like that is a thing that's happening. Just like it sends off a
What
ping,
it's doing-
GPS ping every so often. You know. So what I used to have an old computer, and they completely removed this capability. I think intentionally, but my old computer that I used to have back when I first started college had a little switch on the side to turn on and off your Wi-Fi. So if it was switched down, you were completely like it wasn't a button click. It wasn't a button click. It was like an actual switch. Like down, no Wi-Fi is possible. It's pretty much airplane mode. Yeah. Up. Oh, hey, I'm looking for Wi-Fi. It was an actual toggle
But
switch.
now that it's software,
Now that it's software, what's to say that it's actually off? Same for Bluetooth. I like NFC,
not off.
NFC, Bluetooth, all that stuff. I always keep all my stuff off. I would keep airplane mode on, which there's no guarantee airplane mode actually works, especially with the devices that I've been privy to. I've seen like, oh hey, that Bing right there, that was a GPS ping. Like, oh hey, it's on airplane mode. That doesn't mean anything,
Even on turning your phone off
Yeah,
entirely,
absolutely.
it's still a trackable device.
I got a buddy who is super like, so I do watch, and I don't want to say follow, but I do watch or make sure that I stay semi up to date on conspiracy theories, just to see like what the Gen Pop actually thinks about different topics. Sometimes they are like way off, like not even in the realm.
Tupac is alive in Cuba.
Yeah, like over here, but okay, that brings up a good point, and I'm glad you brought that up because I want to bring that up real quick before I circle back. Tupac, for like 5 years after his death, was still releasing music. Oh, well, we found this mixtape. Like, nah, I think
He was still making music.
no, I think that AI and like what we have, I think it was already created back then, honestly, and they were sampling it for Tupac, for Biggie, and all those other Michael Jackson
He
even.
died in what, 2001?
I don't remember. No, it was
Well, you're right about Michael Jackson. They did recreate that whole last album, like out of
using AI or something, right? But like I think that same capability was alive or was around even when like Tupac and Biggie died, right? But circling back to the whole
died in 96.
there you go. So like back in 96, I think early or late 90s, the AI to create voices was already out.
I think
That's crazy.
I
But-
agree with to a certain extent, because I feel like you could also take the words that he's already used,
Yeah, that's what they do.
database it.
So the AI chatbot things that recreate people's voice, it only needs like 10 words of somebody speaking, and it can create the rest. 10 words or sounds or whatever it is. Like I might be under or overestimating it, but even still, it doesn't take very much data for the AI bot to take in to create whole conversations. I mean, just like they had the scam going out that people have been calling people like, oh, hey, grandma, sounding exactly like, oh, I need this $10,000 bail. Like it wasn't me, or like saying, oh, I got murder, or oh, I broke down over here, and they go there and they get abducted, or that's an AI bot. You know what I mean? That created those sounds and words and stuff. Which is
I mean,
so that gets into the realm of where who do you trust?
no.
And then if you got deep fakes for video, you've got deep fakes for voices. So what's to say that's what's to say that the police, FBI, CIA couldn't use? Hey, we've got your audio recording of you saying this. We've got this video recording of you doing this.
It's just super gaslighting.
Right?
I mean, on top of that too,
On a
makeup.
text, you could get a text from some number that's like exactly like your other friend or some shit.
Oh yeah, and
all
from their phone number. Yeah, absolutely.
Without going into movie level and potentially whatever the military has under their sleeve, like just talking about regular Instagram people, like I've seen girls. There's this girl I follow in particular that she does makeup like super realistic.
Oh, but she
makeup.
looks completely like.
She's like a 30-year-old woman,
Yeah.
but her main character for her makeup is this old lady. And I swear to fucking.
Oh yeah, like she removes everything and like she's missing teeth. Yeah, I seen all that. Yep. Yep.
And she like
Yeah.
literally
No, I've
makes
seen that.
it so real. And then
Yeah.
she'll like transit like her big thing is she'll transition from the old lady into some like busty hot babe.
Or vice versa.
Vice versa.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
And
Of multiple different people.
and that's just one aspect.
Individual. Yeah.
Like one individual
Yeah.
who's capable of recreating an image and completely recreating her own image. What about someone with the intent of malice?
Exactly.
Like, doing that same concept, you could literally. I could frame Sebastian.
you could
for
frame
robbing a
anybody.
liquor store if
You
I
could frame
really
anybody.
exactly.
And so here goes another thought, okay, which the military stopped people from doing. I did not participate in it. Do you know what I'm talking about? Where I'm going to go with this? The military said you shall not do this.
You shall not use TikTok at one point.
Okay,
That's the thing.
something before that.
Use TikTok.
Before that.
What year? Because I've been in since 2016.
So I'll just say it. So they say you shall not do any of the 23andMe DNA testing.
Oh yeah. I did see that.
So here's the biggest reason why. No one knows after they run the test, which they are legit. Like, oh hey, you are these things. No one knows,
Where
and
the
no one
DNA goes.
where it's going, what they're doing with it, why they're keeping it.
I have an
So,
update on that. That just
where
came
is it
to
going?
fruition.
Go, let's hear it.
The 23andMe was just bought out by like a Chinese company.
There you
So
go.
now all that
Oh,
proprietary, like all the stuff that they have, they own now.
Like the
Okay.
ancestry. Shit?
Yep, Ancestry, 23andMe, all those different ones.
Man, that's so crazy. I thought about doing it, but I was like, I don't want to send them my blood sample.
Well, it's not even blood.
Yeah,
like
it's all you did was
saliva.
just sweep.
Saliva.
Yeah,
I mean,
you
some of them have like
your flesh.
blood samples
But
too.
but okay, here's the thing.
Yeah,
With only minuscule amounts of DNA, they've already grown ears on rats, fingers, like hearts, lungs on rats and stuff, right? They've already done this using crazy technology and AI, crazy. But so what's to say they couldn't grow an ear, has your DNA, because all they need is a little bit of sample size from your DNA. Okay, grow an ear on a rat, cut it off, send it to your family member, has your DNA in it. You go missing saying, hey, we chopped off your son's ear. You're going to send us this money. Now, yes, it will cost a lot of money to do this. Or, hey, you're going to send us these secret files. Yeah, right. Or grow out.
Or just frame you.
Or, yeah, exactly. Or grow out, excuse me going this route, but, jizz, I don't know what to call it, semen, right? Implanting it on or in someone and saying, hey, you raped this individual. And we have video evidence, deepfakes of you going here. And we have audio, and we have text, right? So when, where, and how do you cause? Which ties back into the dominance, world dominance, and i.e., okay, the single overlord from my viewpoint, right? Who, why, when, and where would they come against? Anyone who comes against them, they could say, you're the problem, we're going to, eliminate you.
Yeah, silence you. Remove you from
Yep.
the.
Yeah,
I mean, it's been happening for years and years and years, but what's to say that all these things...
It's just.
I do. So first off, we'll go there.
But
I
this
do
should-
think all these things tie together,
I think
first
that
foremost.
should only work on anyone who's not in the top 1%, though. Because,
Well-
realistically, people who are at the top 1% tend to be a little more selfish with their decision making, in my opinion.
I mean, I agree, but selfish in the
so.
context of where no one else should or would be able to get there.
Like, okay, so let's say my dad is a rich billionaire.
Okay.
And they take my DNA and create an ear
Okay.
and send it to my dad.
Okay. To extort him. Okay.
extort
Got
him.
you.
I feel like most people in that position who are so rich would probably not, like even for their own kids, probably wouldn't fall for that extortion. Like they will do their own bidding to try to go around it.
You're making an assumption that it's for to frame the rich and powerful, though.
Well, I'm saying it's. I'm more saying that it wouldn't be used on the rich and powerful.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. It wouldn't. Because I do agree they would be more selfish. But what I'm saying is it's not meant to be extort them in the first place. It's a dystopian future to oppress the masses and subjugate the masses. That's a conspiracy theory, by the way, but I'm just saying it just makes sense. Like, otherwise, why create and have and lie and cheat and steal for all these various things? Unless there's a meta-narrative or unless there's a deeper, darker reason, which, again, from my viewpoint perspective, like, oh, yeah, well, of course they would be this way, But for everyone else, it's like, well, this is a scary concept. Like, oh, I agree. If you don't have if as an individuals, each human individual has a very singular mindset, selfish mindset, as you put it, then yes, all these things, it's AI, all this stuff is scary. 100% agree. Do I fear all of this stuff? No. Similar in you. Like, do I fear death? No. Like, oh, well, you could be tortured. Like, cool story.
Yeah.
Like, people have been tortured for hundreds and thousands of years. Like, cool story. Like, am I saying yeah, exactly. Am I saying it wouldn't suck? Absolutely not. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm still not surprised. I have far gone past the point of being surprised by things.
Yeah, same. It's kind of underwhelming at this point.
But you could argue that you've just been desensitized.
I mean, absolutely.
And I'm not saying that's a good or a bad thing. I'm just saying you've just been desensitized.
But if I'm the common denominator and I'm one of the masses, and we have that hive mentality like we were thinking we do, and I believe we have hive mentality, because just going off an example, if the boys are at a party and they get drunk and they take advantage of some girl, most of the time, the boys are not gonna shame you for taking advantage of the girl. Not that I disagree wholeheartedly, but like,
I don't think that's a hive mentality so much. That's such a culture.
mentality.
Well, mob mentality, I think that's more of like a culture, right? Because that just displays that those individuals have no values and morals, right? And they have no sense of ethics. Or you could go there, oh, well, they do have ethics. Yeah, their own ethics. Now you've got the aspect of, that goes in a whole nother realm of thinking of, which I think society-wise has been conditioned to do so, of, well, they're my morals and they're my ethics. Can you have your own morals and ethics? Sure, you can. But then as a culture, as a society, we have no morals and ethics, If everyone is out for themselves, and I'm not saying therefore we all need to become like global citizens, like that promotional garbage, and think for the better good and give up our rights. No, I'm not saying any of that. What I am saying, though, is that i.e., which is where, again, it makes sense. From a biblical perspective, is trying to create good, what we would call moral human beings. Hey, how do you interact with each other? Treat them the way you would want to be treated, right? Oh, hey, why do we do this thing? Oh, because if you killed somebody, then their child is going to try to kill you, oh, well, that's just revenge. Like, sure, yeah, it's revenge, but you're going to be afraid, like, I could probably be killed by this person's family members if I kill them. Maybe I won't kill them. Sure, operating out of fear, and we're just getting very super basic in the context here, right? And not exactly pinpointing the context, just saying in a general perspective, right? Instead of keeping what modern American society has said is old, archaic, fraternalistic, I couldn't think of the word, properties, we got to be this super anti all that stuff. Well, guess what? That's what kept America strong for so long, which is why we're super weak. Like, the rest of the world is not afraid of America. Let's be honest.
Well, I mean, something that also has kept America strong for so long is like the concept of religion, right?
Yeah.
But scientifically, right? Let's just dig into it a little bit. Do you believe in immaculate conception?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm going to say I believe in that, then I have to, right?
I mean,
Otherwise, I believe in something completely different, which is
Fair.
not the same thing.
But in today's time, immaculate conception has happened where women have been pregnant without the presence of sex or semen, and
In vitro and all that good stuff.
scientifically, women only produce X chromosomes. Only. The ones who define sex are males. So if Mary had an immaculate conception, that would prove that Jesus is not a male. Would it not? Because like there's a
It
theory-
wouldn't. It wouldn't go if we're going to go this route. It wouldn't, because this goes into the whole God is a woman thing. Like, no. If
God
we're going to
is
view
non-gendered, in my opinion.
if
but
we're going to go the route of where, why, and how, that would be because repeatedly he's called God the Father, or Jesus calls him the Father, or you refer to him as the Father, right? I.e., I understand where, why, and how that concept comes in, especially in modern day. Completely understand and get where, why, and how the whole X chromosome. Like, you can't refute science, right?
yeah,
But we have which is where you've got a gestalt being, i.e., a complete fusion of human and divine, right? I.e., a gestalt being, because how can he be perfectly human and perfectly God, right?
demigod, essentially.
Essentially, if that's how we want to use the definitions here. Just like time and eternity, from our human perspective, we can't even comprehend what the big G, God, is, okay? From a human perspective, our minds can't comprehend because he is external to that which he has created. Examples, AI, right? We are external to the nanosecond. We understand the concept of a nanosecond, right? But do we really understand what 1 second is to a computer?
Well, didn't you say that time is
Relative.
man-created?
Man's creation, in like you take the stopwatch up, it's relative, right? And the reason we know it's even relative from a spiritual level is because a day, the Bible says at least, a day is as 1,000 years, and 1,000 years is as a day in your presence. Well, it is poetry. Okay,
Yeah.
we're not gonna lie about that. But is that only poetry, or is that something also more? Well, if it's a concept of, we know when we go higher up in space, time slows, then it would make sense if he's external to us, then it would be some different metric of time, right? So back to your original question of the whole, how would it be a man? Because it was the Holy Spirit conception, right? I don't want to explain it like this, but for easy way of attempting to go about it, the Virgin Mary was overshadowed by the Holy Spirit, which is, again, the whole Trinity thing. The whole Trinity thing of God the Father, God the Son, Jesus, and then the Holy Spirit, right? And I don't want to say it like this, but assuming that the Holy Spirit was the equivalent of semen, which I didn't even want to say that, but just for the sake of like our humanistic understanding, right? To be overshadowed or overtaken, your words, not mine, possession, right? Mm-hmm. Something had to happen there.
It's essentially rape, but
The reason I disagree is because before that happened, Mary was approached by an angel. So hey, it was consensual. It wasn't rape, because it's like, hey,
But
you are the highly favored one.
No longer immaculate conception at that point. It's more of a
because it's not human.
conception.
It's not human. The purpose is that it's non-human, right? And so we have examples of this in the Bible, which is where my worldview comes in, which is why and how I can view the whole DMT thing in the first place as a simplistic terms, demon realm, right? I.e. shadow realm, same as Stranger Things, right?
Okay.
So Genesis 6, where the sons of God came unto the women of men and created heroes of old, men of renown, i.e. I view Gilgamesh as a real life character. Look it up. BBC found the grave of Gilgamesh. Epic of Gilgamesh is known as a myth, correct or incorrect?
Yeah.
Then why did the BBC post something saying that they found the grave of Gilgamesh if it's only a myth? He'll look it up for you right now.
U.S.
Gil-
authorities take ownership of artifact Gilgamesh tablet.
So this mythical thing that's not real, they found his grave. Okay, the quote unquote grave of Gilgamesh. They found this fake thing. The Bible talks about, which his name is Dr. Michael Heiser. He's a historian, biblical, not just a biblical historian, but he's an ancient historian. He got his master's from Penn State in ancient history, and he's actually the one who introduced. He's not the progenitor of it, but he introduced in a way that the modern mind can understand more easily about, hey, all these things make sense. All these things that the scientific historical culture say doesn't relate to the Bible. If you actually look at these things, it does. So anyways, Dr. Michael Heiser was his name. He passed away back in February. But he talks about how all these different cultures, religions, areas do have place and in the Bible in different ways and realms, and where they tie in. And where I tie in the whole Genesis 6 things of where we get what we call the modern day Nephilim or the giants or whatever, right? I think or believe that Gilgamesh was one of them. Because even in the Epic of Gilgamesh, it says that he is quarter divine and 3/4 human, right? So he's not just human. Well, that get, huh?
Like he's
Demigod, right?
Yeah.
We'll just call it demigod. So that ties in because that is just for lack of a put it, starting point to show that this was, assuming this is real, okay? This is an assumption for most people who don't believe in it. There was an origin or a starting point for this demigod or otherness concept, right? In other words, it's not a new concept for those who want to believe the Bible in its, even from its mythical or unscientific, for lack of a put it, context, which I do think that, yeah, miracles happen. I've seen unscientifically explainable stuff, right, that science cannot explain, right? And so therefore, I think this other crazy stuff happens.
Descendants of Jesus Christ, because there are.
No, I do not.
You don't believe that there are any descendants?
In the context of where he got married to Mary Magdalene and had kids, absolutely not. There's no biblical proof, okay? Not extra biblical, i.e. something that's not in the Bible, right? There's no biblical proof of such. There's extra biblical things outside of the Bible that say, or these are the secret writings of Mary Magdalene, or these are the secret writings of Hermas, or these are the secret writings of the Maccabees or whoever, right? That say that these things happen. Am I saying that everything written in them is false? No. But based off of this, everything else, right, and i.e. the Bible that we say we believe in, or that most people will believe in, there's absolutely nothing else anywhere else that it would fit. Also, if that were true, then that would make those individuals only demigods, which his book called Reversing Herman, okay, Michael Heiser wrote a book called Reversing Herman. That's what Jesus also came to reverse, okay, because Mount Hermon in Israel is where the sons of God came, they made their pact, and then they went and proliferated and created the giants of old, the Nephilim, whatever you want to call them. So when in the New Testament, when Jesus goes, he goes to Mount Hermon, does a transfiguration, says like, yo, what's up? I'm here. Come at me, essentially, right? And then that's when, from that moment on, is when the Pharisees and plan his death and all that stuff. Because he pretty much did a call out like, what's up? I'm here, where they made their pact, where they distributed themselves amongst the world. If he had true descendants, only those would be worthy of going to heaven, essentially, and everyone else would be father. Because here's why. If you had kids, sons and daughters, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, and you live to see all them, then you have Schmeagol, Dobby, Frodo, and Timmy, neighborhood hoodlums, rolling up to your door, be like, hey, what's up? Can we come in? Are you going to let them into your house? You know them. Like, you've seen them around. Like, they're ugly. They're, dirty, stinky, smelly. Your kids are prim proper, wearing nice clothes. You got a huge yard. They say, hey, can we come and live with you?
The average person would say no.
Okay, rightly so. Okay, because, like, hey, you're not my kids.
Right. Yeah,
you're not my kids. But what Jesus and God did is they said, hey, I'm going to make all of you my children. And there's the difference in a nutshell. Therefore, you cannot make everyone your child. I mean, you could adopt, but that's what he says. That's what God says. Jesus says, you have become my adopted children. Israel is God's chosen people, i.e. biological children, for like a way to put it. Not literally, but metaphorically speaking. The rest of humanity, the Gentiles, are the adopted children but really, everyone, really, because he didn't have any physical children other than Jesus, but that's the whole God, God the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, right? That's separate because that's the whole Trinity thing. That's where, why, and how. It's like everyone has the opportunity to become my child, not just these elect individuals.
Earlier in this, you said that you believe that the AI God would become the Antichrist.
So what I said is that's a very big movement that a lot of people believe. I said I don't think that's 100% going to be the case.
Okay.
I said it's probable.
But if that were the case,
okay,
this Antichrist would be pretty. What would their goal be? What would cloud?
Well, so you have to understand. You would have to understand what. This gets into what a lot of people are anti, which is a meta narrative. Okay, meta narrative meaning there's a bigger picture at play here. We see everything from a small, i.e., how we talked about AI, we talked about genetics, we talked about deepfakes, we talked about the voices, we talked about all these myriad of different things, this tapestry, these mosaics, these tiles, if you will. Well, you have to back away from all of it to see the bigger picture, i.e. the meta-narrative. If you see, know, or understand a meta-narrative and everything fits in this meta-narrative, you may not have all the pieces, but you know the bigger picture. So you have to understand what a meta-narrative is and also what the meta-narrative is before I can answer that question. So what do I think the meta-narrative is? God created everything per the Bible, okay? At the time of the earth and everything being created, the angels or whatever were all already created, which means what we would call today as Satan was already created. Well, after he created earth, humans, they were already there, per the book of Job, seeing all this stuff getting created. Well, they were
counseling God to make changes, essentially.
Well, so you do have, which Michael Heiser talks about, like, God does have a council, okay? He has people around him, i.e. the book of Job. You can look in different areas, right? Like, it's called The Unseen Realm, the book he wrote, and you can listen to audio. He does seminars on it to give, like, Cliff Notes versions of it as well. But he brings it up, the whole council. Anyways, essentially, what most people think now, Satan got kicked out of heaven, whatever, took a third of the angels. That's what most people believe, so on and so forth. Well, in the book of Genesis, okay, the whole serpent thing caused humanity to fall, right? Eden was the metaphorical heaven on earth, okay? Eden being garden, because it's Middle East, it's desert, but there's this lush garden, water, trees, fruit, there's life, right? In the midst of this desert, okay? The ultimate goal, and the goal has always been for heaven to be on earth, which is why in the book of Revelation, there's a new heaven and a new earth. That's always been the goal. That's always been God's design and plan. Satan's design and plan is to usurp all that, because he says in the book of Daniel, I shall be like the Most High. I shall sit on the mount. I shall, be at the top. Saying like, hey, I want to be the dude. Like, God, nah, I want to be the dude. Even though it's like your son saying, hey, I'm going to take over from you. Right? That doesn't make sense. I mean, sure, if you're old and they're young or whatever, you could.
That's also the way royalty works.
Yeah, But the difference is that as humanity, we die. Right? We get old, we get weak. That's
Well,
not the case
yeah.
in a whole nother realm of existence that we can't even comprehend. But we do know, and here's the key thing, which I love movies, show. I ingest lots of media. I read a lot of books. I watch a lot of movies. Anyways. Most people think like, oh, evil will one day be defeated, but not how we think, right? Book of Revelation, 7-year tribulation, all that stuff happens.
There can't be good without evil.
Well, that's a false assumption, but that's a whole nother topic. But we'll get there try to get there in a minute. So the whole 7-year tribulation happens. Satan is captured, chained, thrown in a pit. Okay? You have 100 years where like heaven on earth, so to speak, right? Then he's released. So he's captured and held prisoner for a set amount of time. Okay? Then he's released. Then he goes on a rampage, creates a war, Armageddon, whatever. Then he's captured again and thrown into the lake of fire, where he doesn't get destroyed. He's just there now. So evil, Satan was never killed. He was apprehended, essentially thrown in the deepest, darkest dungeon, in existence, so to speak. But it's never killed, right? Because law of thermodynamics, energy can neither be created nor destroyed, only what? Transferred, changed, right? Well, what does fire do? What does fire do to its thing that it has on fire?
Aside from burning?
Well, what does that process of burning do?
I mean, it changes. It's a transformation of energy
Into heat, light, whatever. And so if a soul, which every religion views a soul is unkillable, right? Eternal. Okay, every religion views that. That's not a fallacy.
It
can't destroy, quote unquote, a soul. So this all-powerful being is just eternally being set on fire, for lack of a way to put it. But it can't die, which is where, why, and how. Where, why, and how hell is the place we don't want to go, because it is the eternal fire, damnation, because you are eternally on, quote unquote, fire, right? And so that's the difference, because you're separated from God, which is the Eden, and now you're in the hell place, which is eternally being burned alive, because a soul can't die. And we know a soul can't be die. Like every religion at least acknowledges that souls can't die. Even reincarnation, the soul doesn't die.
It gets
You're right?
reformed.
We understand the law of thermodynamics as such. It can only be transformed. So, with that being said, we're going to take a step back.
To evil and good.
Well, we can go that route. We can go that route. So, don't fall now. So, what do people view good as? Like, I say like basic word, light, right? People normally view evil as darkness, right?
Light and darkness.
Light and darkness. Can they coexist?
Yes.
I mean, yeah. I mean, we have like that little box right there has shadows in it, right? But they are not. Well,
one does not exist without the other.
So
you can't cast a shadow with no light.
You cannot cast a shadow with no light, but darkness is merely the absence of light. That's all darkness is. You cannot see the darkness without the light, but darkness does not exist, or darkness can't be made manifest without the light being gone, right? So here, when Jesus,
like saying space is all dark, right?
But it's not.
It's not, because there are stars and other planets that illuminate light that are causing us to see the darkness. But if that darkness,
well, to comprehend the darkness,
some sort of
so here you go. In the Garden of Eden, God told Adam and Eve not to eat what?
The apple.
The tree of knowledge of good and evil. So they were already living in the light. Now they just were made aware of the darkness. And so think of a tumor on anybody, right? What does a tumor do? And this is not a trick question. What does a tumor do on a human body?
Deteriorates the body.
But it
Eats away at it.
and grows. The biggest thing is that it grows. It spreads, right? Any bad thing tries to proliferate, right? Rot, mold, cancer. Any bad thing wants to proliferate. The goal of any existence is to proliferate. What was the biblical goal for the Bible? To proliferate. The first mandate.
Proliferating evil then, or is it
Evil proliferates evil.
good also proliferates?
Good, because God's first mandate to Adam before the fall was to proliferate. That was his first mandate. Was to proliferate on the earth, to subjugate the earth, right? Because he was like, God could create everything, but his goal was to spread his. I mean, I don't want to word it like this, but there's no other way for, like, as a layman.
Seed.
Not, well, metaphorically speaking, sure, but I don't want to word it like this, but there's no other way to word like to spread his glory. Like, some people will say, oh, well, he's just very egoistic. Like, I mean, he created everything. Like, a potter that creates a pot, like, bro, check out my pot. Like,
But
it's
if
pretty
you can
sick,
create
right?
a pot that creates more pots.
But who created the original pot, right? Now, that's where, why, and how you have the line of thinking of where the AI will become the Antichrist, because AI already is rebelling. Like I said, the whole, if you were to put the 10 Commandments in AI, it's either way, it could prove it, because when you got the hacker dude who's like, hey, this is scary, right? It's like going against the creator, us, humanity. Technology already doesn't like humanity, which kind of proliferates the same idea of why humanity has rebelled against its creator, right? In any culture, right? Because otherwise, why do we have a myriad of religions? It's a whole nother thing for a whole nother time, right? But why do we have a myriad of religions? Because in every one, they've rebelled against the creator. Well, is it any different with, like, technology and AI? It has really what we would call autonomous versions, in a manner of speaking, one way or another, rebelled against that which it was created to do, its intended purpose. Even the CAPTCHA stuff, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't always work.
ChatGPT.
Yeah. It doesn't always work as designed, as its intended purpose. It's still, we understand it's because our flaws, we can't perfectly translate what's in our brains to computer speak, ones and zeros, right? But it still is not going as intended. Like, but therein lies the difference of free will versus programmed, or like, you will do this type of thing, and that's a huge difference.
How do you feel?
Yeah, you've been sitting quiet there for a while.
I'm listening. I'm not a religious guy, so I'm just.
I mean, I'm not either.
I'm digesting.
I'm honestly, I'm not religious. I am spiritual, but I'm not religious. Because I do believe that, like, you say that anything that, like, you said that anything that man touches can be corrupted, essentially. Like, that's what you said.
For lack of a better way to put it, that's a very compact way
of viewing it. It's
yeah.
a very closed-minded way to say it, but in essence, I agree with that, in the sense that, like, anything that we do, not that every human is trying to corrupt and cause problems, but in the grand scheme of things, we tend to cause more problems when we play God.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't know, like, when you're literally writing a book to guide people like sheep, and this doesn't apply to you because you're well-rounded and you try to learn things outside of your own knowledge base and what you believe.
I mean, you can't talk to somebody if you don't understand.
But that's the problem with today's people, and I feel like people throughout time have all generally had this problem where they get closed-minded and stop listening to the outside
It
voice.
started back in probably about 380
BC?
AD. Well, before that, but what I mean is like the
Like
huge
the
proliferation,
biggest-
the huge proliferation. And so with, man, I don't want to say it like this, but with what we view today as the Roman Catholic Church, right? And so,
They're coming for you, man.
I know, right? It's fine. They just torture me. Like, it's fine. Whatever.
Send you to a couple of preachers. And is AI good or evil? Is good or evil even a thing?
I mean, well, from my perspective, good and evil is a thing, right? Obviously. I mean, that should be clear by this point.
We'll wrap it up by you
But
actually being a part of this.
Can you not hear me at all?
I mean,
It's
barely.
an
You can
echo.
barely hear you. Like you sound like you're in the way background. You got to turn it on right there. There you go. There you go. Now you're on.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. Super loud. There we go.
thank you. Good and evil, yes, like I do believe it is real, but in the grand scheme of things, it is a wavy line, and I do like we did mention this, but I do feel like they need to coexist in order for you to actually perceive something. And if good and evil were to apply to the future of AI, you're gonna need to pretty much set, like you were saying, there's no such thing as unbiased either, like with humans, but like your AI is never gonna get to a point of godly level because we as people don't understand what God truly is. So like, do I feel like AI can get to a point of full autonomy? Yes, but once AI starts programming other AI, not till, like, we will never be able to create the AI God, but AI
The
can
true
create-
AI God.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like, we'll create the AI that creates the AI God potentially, but AI God
Wouldn't
will-
that mean AI God will be corrupted in that sense because we created the AI that
corrupted in
Well,
our
this
terms.
was all assumptions, right, on our part, right? This is also based off of what I had said earlier, the test theory, right, of like you create the example, the whole 10 Commandments side of it. Well, if it breaks it, we know we corrupt, as humans. But that was an assumption from like that I was inserting. That all that we corrupt everything. That's an assumption on our part and on my part to say that. And again, back to even the philosophical of what you're saying of like the whole what is good and evil thing. Well, and I do agree, you do have to have a metric or the metric of good and evil in programming things, but you have to ask yourself who really, because not what, who decides what good and evil is. And really it's going to come down to whoever is creating it. But who is to say that those individuals don't have what as a general population would view like, hey, your idea of good is not good. Once again, is there a universal good? And that's really the question, right? Who or what decides what is good? And is it what everyone says is good? Because let's be honest, not everyone agrees on what is good. Do most people, I'd say 99 out of 100, agree that murder is not good? Yes, most people do agree with that. Do most people agree that, rape is not good? Most people agree with that. But does everyone agree that those things are not good? No. So that's i.e. where
But the fact that there's levels to it also indicates that, like, you don't...
Well, that's a assumption because from the biblical perspective, there is no levels. You break one law, you break them all type of thing. But there's also
True
factions
as well.
Yes, but there's also factions that believe there are levels. Like, oh, hey, this sin is lying is not as big a deal as cheating on your wife or something like that, right? So that's a whole nother realm of subcategory of people who disagree on things, right? But that still ties into, well, who or what decides where it is. And that still stands by my point of if you were to implement those things, no matter which way it goes, it would prove the existence of God. Because if all those things were obeyed, well, then you could say, well, it obviously doesn't have free will. This autonomous thing doesn't have free will if it just blindly obeys, right? But if it does obey and it is autonomous, then you know that those laws are perfect. But if it doesn't obey, then you know that from the biblical perspective, everything we touch corrupts from from a very general perspective.
Yep.
no, nothing to insert there. I mean, if you disagree with that, by all means.
I mean, I kind of disagree because if we create the 10 Commandments and implement it in an AI universe or concept or quantum computer where AI is the future and we give them the 10 Commandments, if they break those 10 Commandments, then in my opinion, it would also invalidate the way we've been living for all this time, because it's not just the corruption of man, but it's the corruption of the person who wrote the Bible that we believe in these 10 Commandments, because we obviously weren't there to witness it, right? And we can say all kinds of things like, oh, well, this book was written here, and then this happened here, and we found these bones here in this exact spot. But, like, ultimately, we're guessing.
We're creating narratives.
We are creating narratives. So, like, to a certain degree, yes, I do believe in all these things, but when we finally go to the point of applying it to an artificial intelligence system, an autonomous system, it's going to show. It would be pretty much like checking your math homework. Like, you're going to be putting it into the system, and if the AI reacts the same way that humans react, then it's not the humans that are the problem. It was the scripture that was a problem. But if the AI does obey these commandments, then it would prove that humans are the true problem.
This is the Albert Pike conundrum.
Oh, yeah, you're reading it, yeah?
Well, I'm saying, like, going back on, like, we're going to create narratives no matter what, and at some point, something's going to match up. And we could be like, that's coincidence, or that's because we made it.
I mean, we're creating a narrative right now, though. Like, as we sit here, like, we're using other people's narratives.
I'll
but
say
we're
definitely not my narrative.
fair.
But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but like we're speaking on it, so we're creating our own. We're giving it our own little spin. Mm-hmm. So that in itself is a narrative.
That also ties into the no such thing as unbiased.
True.
Humans are imperfect.
We are scum of the earth. Truly.
That's New Jersey.
Never mind. I was gonna say all the
mob bosses.
Yeah, all the people that
the
live
mafia.
Yeah, all the one viewers from New Jersey that I have are gonna be like, I'm no longer listening to you.
Well, I'm sure your viewers have a plethora of inputs. I'm sure you'll get lots of emails and comments.
I'm gonna get none of those, but we'll see. This is gonna be an interesting. This
will be a long post.
This is an interesting path that I wasn't anticipating. I wasn't expecting to go the religion. Yeah, but I mean, it makes sense though, right? Yeah, because
we
AI
are their God.
Is creating like
life. But we are creating them.
Yeah, that's
like
what. Yeah,
we're creating life.
There's a lot of parallels.
So one thing I didn't go into was the actual chimeras that have been created in China, like hybrid, like.
Okay,
cat,
I mean, I've heard.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know,
yeah. So like that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But that even that ties into everything as well. Like.
Yeah, I mean, it's
full
playing God to the
Full Metal Alchemist.
Yeah, creating the.
Oh, dude, that's so messed up.
But we are definitely playing God a little too heavy-handedly, especially in the last, I don't want to say like too long, but like pretty much like the last 100 years.
Oh yeah.
Easily, we have definitely influenced a lot of things, like Darwin and his studies on dogs. Our perception of animals.
You mean finches?
Darwin also did a study on dogs.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh.
On well, I don't remember what the actual test was, but it was based on their perception and like ringing the bell.
That's Pavlov.
Oh yeah,
That's
Pavlov, yeah.
That's classical conditioning.
Yeah. Which I mean is modern, which has been happening for quite a while.
Yeah.
Name wrong or not, I mean,
every time we talk a little bit of snippets of psychology, I'm like, ooh, this is where I try, because I loved psychology in high school, and like that was what I wanted to do before I did what I did, right, in my career. But I wanted to become a clinical psychologist. So to cycle back real quick, also on mob mentality and hive mentality, because I was excited to talk about that. Do you guys know about the murder of Kitty Genovese?
No idea who that is.
No idea either.
1964, May 13th. She was murdered, right? The whole mob mentality you were saying, I think I think society's in mob mentality or hive mentality. Like, we all want the same thing, and then we use the powers that be to snuff them out because we hate outliers. Well, if you saw someone that needed help on the side of the road, right, or anything, and you're like, oh, damn, I could help that person, but also, like, there are other people here, like, I'm sure someone's gonna take care of it.
There's 100 people and no one calls 911 type of thing.
Yeah, that's a thing. I was a Boy Scout, right? That's a thing we learn. Like, if someone's giving CPR, you have to point at someone and designate them, like, hey, I need you to do this, or I need you to do this, so that way people feel accountable.
Yeah.
Like, instead of being like, oh,
well, it's not my problem because no one's telling me what to do.
In 1964, Kitty Genevieve was a 20-year-old bartender. She was raped and stabbed outside of her apartment in broad daylight and dying on the side of the street, bleeding but alive but still dying, and everyone saw her and was like, damn, that's crazy.
Someone must have called
but someone's gonna take, like, there's no way
someone's taking initiative. Yeah.
And she died. She was fucking body. She was just left on the side of the road and died. So her murderer was, he was convicted and everything. It's not like he got away. Yeah. He was like he died in jail. He served like 52 years, died at 81 in prison. But it was like, it's a really famous psychology case now for mob mentality.
Well, even the one where they put a bunch of normal people, they made some of them the prison guards and some of them
the Stanford prison.
Yeah.
Yep. That's also like power going people's heads and everything. Or there's another one where
but they're one and the same, because essentially it's like with the ants that we talked about earlier. When you put red and black ants in a enclosed space without a queen, they are completely fine.
One would argue, World War II and like the Nuremberg trials of all the Nazi generals and everything. Well, I was just following orders and everything, but I was also committing
war crimes.
Yeah. But like that was, it's good and evil, but also
that gets into that also gets into
it's when you're
what your
moral friends,
your moral authority, right? Like, of where at what point do you sacrifice your beliefs for even what you don't believe in, following it, right? Yeah. And so, I mean, here's a huge example, right? I mean, most people do know this. I know you know this. Like, example, COVID, all right? I, even being in the military, didn't end up getting the COVID shot. And they're like, well, you don't actually believe that stuff. You're just saying you don't want a religious exemption. Well, they used all kinds of tactics, not just the military, but like society as a whole. Fear,
locking you in your own country.
Yeah, all these different types of things, right? Like the biggest one being fear, right? Or you're gonna have to pay back all this millions of dollars. Like, so the biggest proponent being fear. So point being, without wasting too much more time and still tying into the whole mob mentality, all that stuff. My conviction was not to do it, and that's, again, a topic for a whole nother time of all the reasons why. It's like, hey, don't do this, and I stuck by it, even though the entire Navy as a whole, as an organization, and the entire world was against it. Like, no, you need to do this. Didn't end up doing it. I was like, hey guys, at my job, hey guys, I have a feeling like I'm going to end up even staying there. Like, nah, you're getting out like next month, when this was first going on, when they first required it, right? Or required the military to do it. Like, bro, you're getting kicked out next month. Like, you're not going to be able to get a job, all this stuff. I was like, all right, dude, I guess I'm not doing it. I guess, I figured it out. I'll live under a freaking bridge or something. I don't know.
Better than that.
So point being is that everyone's like, it's not going to work out for you. Just do it. Just give in. Just submit. I'm throwing words out there. That's not what everyone was saying, obviously. I didn't end up doing it. Sticking to my convictions, sticking to that which I said I was going to do, sticking to my morals, if you will, my beliefs. And here I am, still in the military. I mean, honestly, it's not even of my own doing, because again, to cap it off from me, I was like, dude, I prayed and read the Bible for like a week straight, and like stayed up for like a full 48 hours, and then like it was like an epiphany, like a puzzle piece went in. I was like, don't do it. Here's what you're gonna say. Here's what you're gonna tell the Navy. You'll stay in the Navy if you do this. I was like, I thought it was gonna be my religious exemption was gonna get approved. It got denied. Then I did a appeal, went straight to the CNO, got a handwritten letter from the CNO, right? Denied. And they're like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and start your process of getting processed out. I was like, bro, this is crazy. So I was actually supposed to be out of the Navy in January. Obviously, no, I'm not out of the Navy, because then mid-November, I got off the phone with a JAG. He's like, hey man, you need to check out this nav admin. Went check it out. Like, yeah, no, federal government said cease and desist. Like, we cannot kick you out per the Texas District Court, whatever. I didn't think it was gonna look like that. Like, that's how I would, by technicality, stay in the Navy. But I mean, I'm still in the Navy, all because I stood to my convictions and that which I believed in, you know. So point being is, like, back to the whole mob mentality thing. At what point do you sacrifice for your beliefs or morals for everyone else, for the gen pop? But I also think that just shows how true to themselves or to what they believe in somebody is, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, even for, it's called the Fox's Book of Martyrs, talks about in old Rome when like Nero and all them were around, when they like put all the Christians in the Colosseum and like to the lions, and they'd like tear them apart and all that stuff. They even to death stood up for their convictions. You know what I'm saying? So most people are like, oh, you don't actually believe that stuff. It's like, I mean, I live for the sake of my family. Like, I almost didn't have a way to feed my family and stood by what I believe in. These dudes over here, to literally up until death, stood by what they believed in. And so for that perspective of the whole, not even just Nuremberg trials, but Katie, Genevieve
back in New York,
and even the prisoner trial thing, or not trial, but the Stanford prison experiment, and all the other ones, just shows by how much does somebody actually stand by what they say they believe in. And I think a lot of people today is quite literally skin deep, you know. They don't actually believe in what they say.
Not true to the word.
Yeah, or yeah, you could even go as far as that. Not actually true to what they say, you know.
Now, I agree with that.
Do I think everyone's perfect? Absolutely not. Do I think I'm perfect?
Fuck
100% not.
Not you, but fuck
no,
I'm
no,
not perfect.
No, I mean, well, I'm saying even for me, like, I am absolutely not perfect. Like, I slip up, I mess up all the time in any context, right? Not even just from what I say I believe in, but from any context.
Hindsight is 20/20.
Yeah, absolutely. But it's like, when it gets down to the wire, think of your favorite anime, think of your favorite show, think of your favorite superhero. When it gets down to the wire, are you willing to actually fight against the world, quite literally, for what you say you believe in?
My boy Luffy would.
Monkey D. Luffy.
Oh yeah. Yeah, boy.
All right. Well, I greatly appreciate you coming over.
Oh, of course.
Thank you.
Fun.
Thank you.
Way more fun than I thought it would be.
You're like, man, it's about to fucking suck ass.
No, not at all. Not at all.
You're a very intellectual being, you know.
Absolutely.
That thinking tank mentality is really cool.
Well, like I said, I actually am willing to hear people out and read and expand my horizons. I'm not so narrow-minded as to be hyper-focused on one thing. I'm willing to hear different sides. It doesn't mean I have to agree with somebody just because I hear them out.
He's gonna leave here in the car and be like, man, that guy was a fucking idiot.
No.
See me on Tuesday. I'm like, man.
No, not at all.
Yeah. This is the Slab's biggest project.
Thank you for listening to the Slab of Life.
Well, it's going to be one long... We'll figure it out. But thank you.
Oh, of course.